Well, speaking of scary, John D 1219 SINYC says, so we're talking about from the stadium to the arena, and he's talking about like refunds. You know, Dave, they switch shows, no one got a refund. That doesn't happen anywhere else. Meltzer goes, or they switched venues rather. Meltzer goes, WrestleMania 7 says hello, and like 1,000 other entertainment events. And then John D says 7 was moved, I believe, before ticks went on sale. You're defending potential stealing here. If I buy a field level seat at Yankee Stadium and they move me to the bleachers, they give me back my money. Is that true, chat? Is that true, MJ? Or if the Yankee Stadium game gets moved to CSI's baseball field, I get reimbursed. Is that true? Can we verify that?
I'm not certain how it works. Like, I've never been part of having tickets for something that's been moved like that, but I do know that I've been to baseball games where something happens or whatever, and like, well, let's say there's an unruly fan. They will go out of their way to accommodate you, to give you vouchers, to give you comp tickets to another game. I'll never forget when I was a kid, there was glass in a soda, and they made sure we had tickets to, like, they were like, just call us, get tickets. We went to 6 more games that season. It was like no big deal. So it is normal for teams and for venues to accommodate fans when there is something disruptive to the experience, which I think if you bought floor seats and wound up in the bleachers with a bad view, that qualifies as being pretty disruptive, and it would be on the company to like do a make good here.
So Dave Meltzer quote tweets that and says WrestleMania 7 was moved after 14,000 tickets were sold, and they were all transferred to the sports arena, which also ended up not selling out as they were giving tickets away on the radio the night before. Okay, so why did you just goalpost shift and do a... Listen, the guy's talking about you buy a ticket, they move it, you get reimbursed. He's not talking about them giving away tickets or if it was a sellout. And then, yeah, he's like, I'm not talking about comps, though. And the issue isn't even AEW's fault. I'm talking about you pay for A and you end up with Z. The difference has to be returned. Like if I buy a ticket for a show at MSG and it's $200, but the show gets moved and I end up with a $50 seat, now I'm owed my $150. I don't think that guy's wrong. So Disco responds to Meltzer, who's saying like it was moved after 14,000 tickets were sold. Glenn's like, that was 34 years ago, Dave. You think that data point is relevant here? And exactly, like he's got to always reach way back for everything. But for some reason, he's like, everyone's old and out of touch. But he's the guy who's like, I've been doing this for 50 years. Look back 34 years ago before you were alive to know when this thing happened. It's like, dude, it's
the world has passed Dave by. It's very sad, actually.
You know, other than so goalpost moving, whataboutism. So Scott Langford says, you can't gaslight us. You literally tweeted AEW over the next 3 years is guaranteed more financially successful than any company in history. Don't try and gaslight people. Other than WWE. Yeah, well, you can't just like, that's the thing, Dave. You tweet out like that, and then people jump on you. Then you act, well, obviously without saying WWE. Okay, well then AEW's they're competing with TNA. Well, no, I mean, they're the most profitable ever. Was WCW not competing with WWE? That's what he does all the time. So it's super cringe. He's just getting called out for shit.
They can never defend, and Dave might be one of the leading sickos. They can never defend anything AEW without the whataboutism.
Yeah.
Which is a hallmark of their kind, of their culture.
And it forces us, like me, to go, well, Dave, if this was AEW, you know, but the thing is they are actually talking about AEW specifically here, but it also forces us to sometimes go, okay, Dave, but like AEW, and then it's like, well, what about A? But it's like, no, you don't get to play that because you're the one making up all these. The problem is that we're all trying to argue with a madman. That's why I'm glad he actually blocked me and I just screen grab and do.
He blocked you?
Oh, dude. When? So long ago.
Oh, long ago. You know who blocked me today, right?
So long ago. Look at this, bro. This is why. Look, like he responded to someone tagging me and he's talking. It's just an accumulation. Someone made a fake Blue Sky account. Oh, I might have. Yeah, I deleted it out of here because I
know he goes nuts with the flute.
Someone made a fake Blue Sky account and made it look officially like the real Dave Meltzer, like Blue Sky. And then Dave had to be like, this isn't my account. And the person who made it is like a PWT listener. And I didn't know about, like, they just made it. And I was like, holy, but at the bottom, it's like, I listen to PWT flutes. I play flutes, you know, like, so Dave had to acknowledge that and be like, This isn't me. So he's just been trolled. People have told me if you put a flute under one of his, he'll just block you. I think he knows about the segment. But either way, yes, I've been blocked for eternity, and I like that because I don't want to argue
who
dumb
blocked
Dave.
me
He's
today?
not listening. Who blocked you?
I think he's my version of your Dave.
Yeah.
Thurston.
Your number one fool?
He finally grew a set. And he finally realized that I can just block this person, which really does nothing, except I do have an outdated phone, so I can't see it on my phone. But most of the people's stuff like Meltzer or Thurston or any of these clowns, most of their stuff I just see through aggregation. So it really it's irrelevant that I don't follow them.
Yeah. So here's a demo Dave here. Shout out Tort F and Hamlin. Just proves that half-full restaurant AEW doesn't equate to good food wrestling. Exactly. Dave Meltzer responds to Chris Kitchens, who sounds like he knows a thing or two about restaurants. And he goes, did you engage the point, though? Which is more important, drawing money or fake subjective ratings? Meltzer goes, in a business, profit is always the most important. But if you're in a restaurant, do you care about attendance or how the food tastes? So there is importance to, or how the food tastes. So there is importance to both. Yeah, I don't know. A poorly attended restaurant, probably you don't want to go in there, Dave. They probably have bugs or something. I mean, yeah. I don't really know where he comes up with this. He's really fixated on this McDonald's. It's like, I'm never at restaurants. I hope the attendance is down so I can get my food quicker. Like, you don't get it. These are two completely different things that you can't really compare, Dave. You're an idiot. Let's just compare it to what's the point of the circus, the Ringling Brothers that tour around selling tickets and making money. What's the point of when Sum 41, there's a good old Canadian band, or Metallica say we're reuniting for a tour? What's the point of them doing that? To sell tickets and make money. What's the point of the Super Bowl? To sell tickets and make money. What's the point of like a band that tours or like other entertainment or sports and entertainment? That's what you compare it to. But you don't want to compare it to that because then you look stupid. You have to try and make it's all about subjective taste, but it's not. Well, it's an art form. Okay, so is singing, so is like making a sandwich or a cheeseburger. There's art to it. I'm sure you could argue that. And we just that's not how you everything can't be subjective. Okay, that's all. We can't
be said about like what Michael Cole put out there into the discourse about WWE being a storytelling company. At the end of the day, they're content providers, right? That's their business. They create and provide content, whether it's to distributors like Netflix and Warner Brothers or whether it's to the fans. Pro wrestling happens to be what they feature on their content. But as society evolves, people want additional entertainment. They want additional content. They want additional versions of pro wrestling. So like this idea that WWE is in the storytelling business, like, yeah, that's what content providers
do. That's what television is, my guy. That's what
watch
television is television. Well, what's television?
Right.
Drama and action and stories, bro.
If you watch sports, and we just had the Super Bowl here in America, right? They spent 2 weeks telling stories about all the things about the Super Bowl before the game was even played.
And what are the ads do? Even the ads. Oh, we have to make the most compelling ads of the year. What do they do? Oh, you have Antonio Banderas and this guy dressed like Macho Man, who's actually, his name's Mark Harley, BGL, actually connected to Brendan Shaw, believe it or not. Funny enough for my homeless cats out there. But anyways, so it's a commercial where they're like, oh, if you're Bosch, you feel like a Bosch, like a boss type thing. And they tell you a story in the commercial about why this brand is or how it's going to make you feel. It's everything. All of television is just enjoy this art. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And the more people that enjoy it, that's how we quantify what the best is and what the trends are. Is Taylor Swift the best singer? I don't know if she can hit every octave, bro. But yes, she is, because she sells the most tickets. How else do we quantify it? Well, this guy at a church choir can hit this octave. Great. But what's the objective of someone who's like, I'm going to professionally make music as a recording artist? Their job is hopefully to sell as much records and tour the world and sell as much tickets as possible. That's their job at the end of the day. So the church choir guy can sing really good. Great. It's not a technicality. We can't argue based on subjective taste. We go based on things we can measure and what's palatable. And what's palatable is like, oh, she sells the most records, and I go to her show and I enjoy it and I sing along with the songs when they come on the radio, and I can admit, yeah, I get why people like this, even though it's not my cup of tea, right? I mean, I can do that about AEW too.
What's the number one thing that people who watch wrestling for wrestling, like it's the art of wrestling, like the matches, like that's what they care about. Like, what's the number one thing that they celebrate about, like what's great about it? The storytelling in the matches.
Right.
So
exactly. Even the people who are like the matches, they told a great story.
Like
they
the
always
storytelling in the matches is what makes all the greatest matches is storytelling in the matches. So I just find that kind of amusing that they tell on themselves. At the same time, like if you don't care about any of that and you just want to see like men or women fight, I mean, like watch mixed martial arts, watch karate, watch kickboxing, right? Like if you just want to see, or if you want to see them fake fight, and you haven't grown tired of that in the last 10 to 15 to 25 to 35 to 60 years, like, okay. Like
I know that's the thing.
Like you people evolve. Like I play golf. Like what I enjoy about golf today is different than what I enjoyed about it before. If the whole thing was like you have to do it the same exact way and you have to there's no evolution to anything, like who enjoys that? Like life's about evolving.
Yeah, dude. So, and there's no movie that's just like a fight scene. You know, some people argue Wick, but there's
fight scene. Right.
There's 4 of those movies though, and the first one's not just fighting. Like most of it's just talking. And so all I'm saying is that like you have to fall in love with characters. You have to fall in love with the story. I love watching Jackie Chan fight scenes or Bruce Lee fight scenes, even if they're fake, and I know they're fake, or when the Avengers fight Thanos, because they build up to where Falcon goes on your left, and then Cap lifts the hammer and he goes on your left, and then all the guys come out and he goes, Avengers assemble, and you like we're waiting for them because I read the comics and now the movies, and I've been waiting for Captain America to say Avengers assemble like in the books all these years. Oh my God, this is amazing. You're so invested, you know, into every little thing, and so you just have to do that at a high level if you want to claim you're the challenger brand. No one gives a fuck about billionaires. No one cares about WBD doing more bad TV deals. They already do a bunch of that anyway. So, you know, but yeah, Dave admitting profit's always key, whatever, and then saying a bit of both matters, coping over the attendance of restaurants. But then he's like, is McDonald's the best? I don't know. They have the best attended place. Like more like you like Nuggies. Everyone likes McDonald's, bro. So what are we talking about? Dave gets questioned by Matthew Boyce. Where does it compare to the episodes before the Netflix debut? Disingenuous to compare the debut episode. Meltzer says comparisons are all here. And then links it. And then Raj Geary says, you had mentioned that you'd have Nielsen ratings for Raw on Netflix about a month after the episode aired. Have you seen any numbers for those early Netflix shows? And we all know the answer to that question, chat. Where the fuck is my nope? Here we go. Okay. Anyways, I had to get that off one time. So moving along here, MJ from NJ says, riddle me this. Triple H won Booker of the Year. WWE won Promotion of the Year. 4 of the 5 worst angles were all on AEW, but Dynamite won Show of the Year. Classic Dave. Tags me in it. Thank you for that. Exactly, dude. Dave Davin. Like the Wrestling Observers, they lack creativity. They're illogical, and they lack consistency. And that's his listeners. And that's Dave Meltzer and Brian Alvarez in a nutshell right there. And so
this is the same publication that has not put CM Punk, one of the 3 most influential and needle moving performers in the last 20 years, and he sat at home for 10 of them, or 7 of them. They don't have him in the Hall of Fame.
Well, it's because he called my friend an empty-headed dumb.
There's no credibility to this guy, to his publication. I can't believe that somebody who is like was or is well enough regarded to wind up on Netflix or to wind up on CNN. Like he is that for whatever you want, for whatever we can clown on him for. Like he is that at least, that he has completely torched his reputation and legacy.
I love it. A lot of people are like, why do you care? It's like, because it's hilarious, bro. Why does everyone care? Why are there almost 300 people watching us right now still at this late at night? Because care.
It's a story.
Exactly. So Dave Meltzer copes over this rating here. Not even really coping, just, bigging it up. Collision did 502K, a 0.21. Don't have the chart. NBA lead-in, of course, helped a lot.
Don't have
Really.
the chart. He had
NBA lead-in. It's funny that he doesn't have the chart, but an account called Awful Wrestling has a chart made in like fucking 30 minutes.
He posted this before the quarter hours were released. Released. There's not a chance he didn't know that the first quarter did 1 million. He had the chart, he was given the chart by Tony, by somebody.
He goes, the NBA lead, and of course helped a lot, really. The key given it was out of its regular time slot. Bullshit. So he's trying to say, well, they did great for it being out of its time slot, though. That's the key. A bunch of people tuned out to see the show. No, bro. It's the NBA. People leaving their TVs on and they turn off at the sleeper timers and stuff. So he goes, that doesn't include Max. So likely the biggest numbers, bro. No one was watching on Max because when it said it was on Max, you clicked on it and then it said it wasn't on.
And when you went to go watch it after it was on, it said it was Dynamite.
Yeah. So Dave, no one watched it on there. So likely the biggest numbers since the early weeks of the show. If you factor that in, factor in the 10,000 people who watched on Max. If that first quarter, Omega and Ospreay versus Takeshi and Fletcher topped 1 million, but that's not a surprise. So Meltzer's trying to make it out like 1 million people tuned in to see Omega and Ospreay. That's the Meltzer spin. Now, you could go, no, that's not what he's saying. Get media literacy. People like to cop out with that media literacy. No, Meltzer admits it. He's wording it purposefully this way, so dumb robot NPC parrot accounts will see this and then regurgitate that. Omega and Ospreay did 1 million, of course. That's not a surprise. He's trying to word it like they drew this 1 million. That's not what happened. And if you want to word it like that, Dave, they also lost 400,000 people after 8 minutes. So what happened? What happened there? You can't use that excuse because then it also on them, but he's too dumb to understand that.
I was right with this, by the way. I see you have my tweet up here that the end didn't stay above 400,000. It didn't even stay above 300,000.
Yeah.
That's terrible.
So here we go.
So terrible. They flew, I'm sorry, Phil. They flew around the world to run a show that did $1.3 million, which isn't even the equivalent of a Raw these days. All right. They likely lost money on this entire trip. They ran a pay-per-view for free on a Saturday night, and not even 300,000 people stayed to see the conclusion where you were crowning your champion in one of the greatest female stories ever told. But stories don't matter. But, right, okay. That's terrible.
Moving on here, Booker T, speaking of legends in the house roasting Meltzer, we have Alfred Konowa posting this, but this is a quote of Booker T roasting Dave Meltzer. So Booker T says maybe he's looking for a job. Maybe he's on the payroll. Oh, yeah. A legendary story, too, of Meltzer sitting down at a table with Booker T and someone on the Jericho cruise, like a few Jericho cruises ago. And Booker T was like, get the out of here, dog. And then like chased him like away from the table, was like, you're not one of us. And then was like laughing about it, telling the story to like Eric Bischoff. And after, sorry, I'm getting a text. Booker T says, maybe he's looking for a job. Maybe he's on the payroll. I don't know. You can get ticked off listening to some of the stuff that comes out of his mouth when he's talking about AEW. You swear he's on the payroll. Now, before I read the last bit, like MJ, even someone like Booker T, well, he's paid by WWE. Yeah, but that's irrelevant, right? He's been working for WWE.
Works for them. Like he's on the program. Like, whoa, okay.
So it's
does
like,
he lie about it? Does he conceal it? Does he withhold that information?
No, not at all. And so the last part, he's like, and if he's not on the payroll, he should be. So Booker T agrees with us, like, what we were saying earlier, basically what we were talking about, like, bro, if you're not getting paid by them, like,
one of the dumbest businessmen to ever do it.
Yeah, like all this shilling you're doing and you're not getting paid, like that's crazy, man.
The same goes for a handful of other people, by the way.
Oh, absolutely. It's just he's the cream of the crop. He's my number one fool.
Yeah, we don't have to name names, but I think everyone knows who those people are.
Exactly. So, yeah, Booker T agrees with PWT confirmed. And that, ladies and gentlemen, was another eclectic Dave Meltzer's dumb moment of the week.